Anthropic for me is the miracle kid of this generation. When I looked at the valuation, 340 billion in 5 years, amazing in reality leaders.
To other Amir is also the ability to almost release products end to end. Basically a product manager, right? Whatever I can conjure in my mind, within a couple hours, I can have it.
Ideally here, it was almost the first shot to kill the software industry.
It's called the SaaS-pocalypse.
Almost. Anthropic announced this week that they are entering cybersecurity and they are now doing code security.
A big issue. Look at also the open claw. Definitely security aspects there where if you're not cybersecurity expert, anything can happen. Your information can be lost. And information wins in the end, or is the ultimate asset that you have for controlling, for gaining power, essentially.
Will AI change the how? Yeah, that's 100%. It cannot change the what in our hands. If you don't know the what, AI will not do anything.
Yeah, then you're done.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the TrickCast. We got another special episode with a brand new guest here. So Amir, before we introduce our guest of honor, how you doing? How you been?
All is fantastic. I see you're enjoying your vacation, Alex. It's always good to see you, my friend. Yeah.
Likewise.
Looking forward for our episode today.
Same here. And maybe before I introduce our guest, do you want to maybe mention how you guys met and how you know each other? And then we can go through Peter's background.
We met in Millicom, right? Peter was my boss's boss in Millicom, very senior to me at this point of time. And I was wowed from day zero about whatever his tactics and strategies in running IT. And till the moment, I think what he have put as a frame of reference for our thinking as CTOs in Millicom is still what we use till now. So he's at least a great guru, almost a god in what he does.
Well, I'll give a quick formal introduction, Peter, and anything that we miss, maybe you can help us fill in the gaps. So we got Peter Larnholt. Peter, you're obviously a seasoned professional leader in the tech space. You spent more than 3 decades in this industry, anywhere from founding your own organizations to being an architect, developer, CIO, CTO. I think it's a list of all kinds of very impressive companies and positions you held. Currently, if I'm not mistaken, you're an investor. You're also a technology advisor, not only to corporates, but I believe to certain governments as well, which we can get into without specifics, but just your macro view on that. And of course, today we're here to pick your brain on the topics of AI. You're also a frequent speaker, so it's going to be interesting to hear kind of the latest, greatest that you're hearing from your network and the space. So is there anything notable that we missed or that you'd like to mention?
No, I think that's it. Of course, I have a long story to tell, so I hope it doesn't take the whole podcast to do that. So, but thank you for inviting me, and I think this podcast is great as well. I've been watching it several times, and I think what you guys doing is great.
Well, we're glad to hear you, and maybe for the audience to give a bit of a review on the show. Usually, we break down the geopolitical and tech related news, and of course, we try to highlight and spotlight certain leaders and what they've done and kind of the magic tricks that they have under their sleeves. So we have a few interesting topics in the AI space today on some great leaders that we'll discuss. And of course, you're one of them. So maybe before we get into your practical advice, could you give us a brief overview, maybe how your career started and how you developed from, let's say, somebody being more hands-on in the tech space to being more of a strategic advisor on a high level?
Yeah, we'd got to. So I'm actually started my career as an innovator. So this was when I was in university. I was always obsessed with coding and technology things and so on. And this was in the beginning when the home computers were coming, the C64s, the VIC-20s, the Amigas, and so on, that I was completely obsessed with. And then, of course, we were playing things. We were exploring things. And in my case, I had a vision that the computer and the television will be one. So this was my vision. So then I had to connect my Amiga, which was a home computer that I bought for $500, I think. And that one I started to open up and connect different kind of probes and so on. So I was in the technical university, of course. So I dressed that one up and was able to key, it's called key, this signal onto a television signal that was for studios. So this was some of the things I did in the beginning. So that led out to something called a genlock, which is the device you're using in order to mix the TV signal with the computer signal. So this was how I started, and I didn't think that was working. Probably I should have patented my solution, but also I'm very stupid. So because you were very young, I didn't know how to do things. So then I got in contact with a company that was doing TV shows. And those TV shows was called Bingolotto, which was a lottery in Sweden that they played on TV. And they needed the equipment in order to see the bingo numbers coming up on the television. So I came into there, so I went into media. And then eventually I had a long path until I ended up in telco and went into corporate jobs all across several continents. I think I'm on the third continent now, but Spain, Europe, Sweden. I'm from Sweden originally. Went to the US for Millicom, where Amir and I met. And now I came down in 2019 to UAE, where I was CIO for a while or for a couple of years actually, between 2019 to 2024. So I was the CIO of a company here called Do, which is the second operator in UAE. So now I've continued my journey. So this is the circle that I'm doing. So I'm going back to the circle, to the beginning. So now I'm starting to be an innovator again. So now I founded my companies and so on. So I'm building innovative solutions that we're taking to market and maybe patent a few things because we have learned some stuff during the way.
When was the genlock? Which year?
The genlock was 1997 maybe.
You
No, 91. 91. Sorry, 91.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
It was even before 91 because 91 was when this Bingolotto started, and then maybe I had a year already developing this genlock and make it so it fit with the signal from the TV studio, because you had to have then it was not digital, so there was something called a component signal. And that was the one that we keyed into, so we could present the numbers on the television.
I remember those.
We're 98. We're 98.
Yeah, I remember those assemblies that we used to do. But Samsung people, you really got lucky. Huh? I think you should have really patented
Probably, but monetization has never been my thing. Almost like most of the entrepreneurs, maybe. But maybe you have successful ones that is doing that. But I think for me, I was successful because I had fun, but I could not. I could have monetized better.
In my opinion, most of entrepreneurs in the tech, especially in the beginning, they actually really fuck up. Do this until you find the Bill Gates for Mark Zuckerberg, or until you find again Bill Gates now for Sam Altman, or someone to just really guide you through the process of being a business leader out of your tech leadership. But you've done,
and maybe there to add to that. So maybe when you see a successful entrepreneur, normally they have failed miserably, or use the word that you were saying before, several times before they actually get any success. So you have to learn.
Yeah, true.
Just to add my 2 cents here, I had a post yesterday on LinkedIn about Peter Steinberger, who's the guy behind OpenClaw, and his Twitter is quite entertaining. He's pretty direct, pretty straightforward, and he was sharing that he had something like 40 projects on his Git before OpenClaw actually exploded. So most entrepreneurs, I don't think see it in hindsight as a failed business or failed opportunity. It's all adds up. It's all contributing to your successful venture, right? And who is the guy, the owner of Dallas Mavericks from Dragon's Den? He'll come back to me, but he always says that you only really need to succeed once, right? You can have 100 failures, and if one product or company takes off, that's all you really need.
Yeah, it's funny in English that the word experience and the word experiment have the same stem, right? So
Yeah.
and that's, you need to experiment to gain experience.
Yeah.
You haven't failed, you didn't get.
Even and risk as well, right? So you need to risk, many times you risk a lot. I mean, look at Elon Musk, for instance, that almost risked his whole the whole capital that he had in order to send. I don't know if it was the third or the fourth rocket, and they didn't have any money, so it has to succeed, right? So you need to take normally as well. It's normal to take a lot of risk as an entrepreneur and then fail many times. And then that's all. So I think that's how you become
Do
successful.
you really feel it, Peter, that somehow it always happens when your back is to the wall?
No, yeah, I think there are different phases, because maybe you have the phase when you have the idea or the vision, but then there are hard work already or many times, and then it gets very tough normally, and then your back is against the wall. It can be you launch a product and then lawyers come after you, like the example with that OpenClaw, and they had to change names several times and so on, and then he had all the guys that were heckling him online and so on, not very fun, kidnapping his projects on GitHub and so on. So those things are not fun, and you have to work against those. And in order to get, because you can always give up, and then we wouldn't have OpenClaw now. So I think that's it. You need to push through whatever it takes.
I always have in mind this comic video of a person digging for the gold and then continue digging and then waiting in the last 2 centimeters and turn back, and the other one continue these 2 centimeters.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
No, I think many people do that actually.
Yes.
Maybe they have a dream, and then, as you said, maybe your back comes to the wall and you don't have the guts or the patience, or do you have some other things that prevents you from actually succeeding? So, but it takes a lot, I think.
So, Peter, you call yourself a value creator.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about the journey from an innovation with no patent till actually now, where you actually almost focus on this as a rule of life, like let's create value.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good like tagline of how you think. So it's like a framework for thinking, that you always need to create value somehow. So if that is for customers in a telecom operator to improve the customer experience, or if it's to create a device that enable you to do interactive TV with a TV show in Sweden, or as I'm doing now, I'm doing the digital assistant that is very similar to OpenClaw, but it's a closed system with high security, or the highest security standards. And that
enterprise
one
grade,
is
basically.
also creating that. Yeah. So you have your own container that you're running in, instead of running on your PC or your Mac, or what they're saying that should do it on a Mac Mini. But this one is running in a complete different container. So I think this is to create value. And I see, for instance, with the assistant, and this is what drives me actually. I see people smiling when they are taking photos of buildings, and I'm a real estate agent, for instance, and I can see the floor plans. I can get messages when the prices are rising or getting lower. I can see. We have one person that is managing her blog. So she was in Blogspot, then she didn't want to pay, so she went to GitHub pages, and the assistant migrated all the pages from Blogspot into GitHub pages, which is for free, and now she can manage the blog just by typing with the assistant, and she's completely not technical, and that is creating value for me. So it's not in monetary terms, but it's to create value for customers, for people in general. So that's why I use this tagline.
The value for you is equivalent of impact as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Or value, impact for others, and impact for for myself, let's say, or I take it so that value for me is maybe to give value to other people, because then I see that they are seeing it. So like my first kick was when I was seeing my software doing the numbers on television for 6 million spectators. Of course, I was nervous, but it was fantastic to see. Nobody knew that I did it, but I knew that I did it, and that's it. Yeah.
Yes. Not many things in life give you that lasting joy, actually, and I think
No.
that fulfillment, satisfaction of like getting it there, and
Yeah.
that's what's
Exactly.
really. It's a moment you need to live again and live again and again and again, and that's
Absolutely. You are striving for that moment all the time. So this is what drives me.
So Peter, in your life in telco, you worked in Europe, but also with Millicom, it was more of developing markets, like really underserved markets, and then GCC.
Yeah.
How do you see the paradox? What's the differences?
You learn a lot. So I was in Europe. So I started in Sweden with my telecommunication journey, let's say. So how I got there, there's a lot of long stories, so we should not take it in this podcast, or this casting, I think, of this episode at least. But I came in to telecommunication with Ericsson in the beginning on the product side. But as an entrepreneur, it was too early for me with all the processes, all the things I needed to learn, product structures, document structures, and so on. I was not ready for that in my young entrepreneur days. And then I started in Telia, which is the Swedish incumbent. And they had a startup there that was rolling out broadband in Sweden. So that's how I came into telecommunication. And then after that, I went into the group roles. Then I was asked to be the CIO in Yoigo in Spain, which we launched in 2006. I was there 2008. And then we took that up to a few billions of revenue. Then after that, Telia decided to sell it, or it was for sale. And then I wanted to do something else. So that's how you and I met. I was first offered a job in Colombia as a CTIO, or I actually applied for that job. And then there was somebody that saw my CV and said, this guy is a CIO, he's not a CTO. So then I ended up as the group CIO for Millicom. And that was both in Africa, or was a group role, so both Africa and Latin America. And then we drove a lot of transformation there during the years in emerging markets. So both emerging markets. So this was very, very challenging for me. It was a very interesting job. It was fantastic. However, there was a lot of traveling all the time. You know, Amir, that the way we travel there. 5 countries, doing business reviews, and then going to another country next week to do something else, and so on, because you needed to be in the operations to be able to transform, to see the people. And then after that, I was in this group role, and after that, I got a call from a Dubai-based operator, or UAE-based operator called Do. Which is here where I am now, as also group CIO. So this one was less traveling. I almost saw all the customers from my window. We were in one of the highest buildings in Dubai. So I almost saw all the customers. So I didn't have to travel anymore. So that was good for me. And that was very complex transformation. So this is I was hired by the board, and the CEO was going out, but there was a big need for transformation, and so we allocated a lot of capital in order to transform the whole company into a digital telco. So replacing all the systems, replacing operating models, engage with customers, digitalization through apps and so on in all channels, such both B2B, B2C, in all channels, retail and digital channels. So it was pretty big one.
In the Millicom times, I remember very well actually that the setup of also the IT transformation there. I think it was an eye opener for me personally, because unlike you, I was coming from the CTO life to the CTIO life, not from the CTO life to the CTIO life.
Yeah, you were famous as well. You say me, I was famous. You were also famous. Eh?
I was talking about. So if you having nowadays tools in 2014 approaching transformation with almost an aim of efficiency in emerging markets as well, because emerging markets, what would you have thought of it differently actually there at this point of time? I think challenges was what we had was unstable infrastructure, lack of talent, and most of these challenges emerging markets there. It's if you have a playbook of you want to achieve the same transformation that you did in an emerging market, but with nowadays tools, how would you see it?
More or less, I would say the same. One might think that you would do a lot of centralization, but centralization is very difficult when it comes to local markets and local regulations and so on. About take an easy thing or an obvious thing like data security, or you have CDRs, personal information, PI data, and so on. So you need to have that on the ground. But technically, of course, you can have that centralized and so on. So I think the model that you would do, now we're talking about IT stacks. We're not talking about people. We can come into people as well. Then you need, of course, you get sort of cookie cutter variants that you can place in the different markets. If you take Millicom, that was a group. We did that as well. I remember my first project was CBS, which is the Huawei billing system, convergent billing system. So we did that. I believe it was in El Salvador first, and we failed miserably. I think they have in the revenue line, they have a small valley. Or not a small valley, it was a big valley. And then it continued, and actually it spiked up later, and that's called Peter's Valley. But yeah, because we had some problems with the billing system when we were implementing it. But that's first country that you're doing. Then the next country, which I believe was Honduras. Not a single problem. Then we went to Guatemala, we went to Colombia, we went to Paraguay, we went to Bolivia, did the exact same thing. So you have this kind of economy of scale or scaling of the system that you have, delivery, all the things that comes with it. So I think this is the way that you can do transformation. And your question was really, would you have done anything differently? And I think yes, I would, but it's more on the how you communicate with the operations, how you operate, what people you put inside of the markets, and so on, so that you have an anchor point for sure that can drive the transformation locally and so on. So because that was maybe a problem. There that in some countries you didn't have the talent enough to do because they never did it before. So you need to have these kind of capabilities when it comes to people.
Interesting. It was a ballsy move though to get a Chinese CPS in 2014.
Yeah, it was almost crazy. And when we did the El Salvador, then I was almost crying. So but they bombed people from or not they bombed, they took down people almost by parachute, and then in the end we got it to work. Translated all the documentations and so on. It was in Chinese most of the things, but they were really skilled. They learned English. Then we went to Honduras, Guatemala, and then we went to the rest of the countries. So then, and even we did Africa before that. But that was not with the same model.
It's amazing how the Chinese actually managed to really recalibrate themselves all the time and come up again. winning. Like it's wow how they do things.
Yeah.
So honestly, Peter, I could continue on and on and on about actually how I am striving to hear about your experience on that. But what about we take another move and go into the news, and let's hear your thoughts about certain line of news that I've seen nowadays. So Alex, do you wanna take us through the topics of the day, and let's actually get the thoughts of Peter on that.
Of course. So the first one, Amir, you wanted to touch on the story of Anthropic. And maybe before we go into the whole timeline and the development over the last couple of years, should we give a bit of an introduction about the founders and what is the backstory there?
Well, yeah, why not? Actually, as usual, TrickCasters, it's in my head, it's always about the people and the leaders, and when it comes. So, Anthropic for me is I don't know, the miracle kid of this generation. It's 2021. It was the first exodus coming out of OpenAI, actually. So Daniela and Dario, who are sisters or siblings, actually. So they both were on allegations of worried about the safety of AI. They decided to leave OpenAI and build their own terms of what they call constitutional AI in reality. And in my view, when I looked at the valuation of Anthropic last, like 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and thinking of two amazing in reality leaders in reality, managed to get a company in 5 years from a first dollar creation to actually 340 billion in 5 years. It clicks in my head that there was a purpose in what they're doing. Actually, they really had something in mind, and the word of the constitutional AI there. Peter, what do you think on their link on purpose, or how purpose can actually drive such a growth? And maybe what's your thoughts on their constitutional AI point of view?
No, I think it's amazing. From their company development that they have been doing is completely amazing. I think OpenAI, they made a lot of mistakes in the beginning. It was only a few people. It was just a startup. I met a lot of people from OpenAI that was there in the early days, and there were like 50 people. And most of them engineers, so there was no for marketing, for customer, go to market, and so on. So to structure documentation and so on. So it was early day, but I think that not only in Anthropic, they have had a very strong vision. They have not copied only OpenAI. They have really built a company that is, I mean, their product is fantastic. Their delivery of the product is fantastic as well. What they haven't been able to do the same, but it's coming now, I think, is to be known as the brand for the consumer, maybe. So I think I don't have any stats, but for sure they have much less users than OpenAI or ChatGPT.
It's interesting angle, Peter. I think also because their commercial model is different. So I think they're the only ones that they charge you with extras whenever you use more. And for a non-techie user, or I say like a new joiner to that world, it would be scary to suddenly skyrocket into 5,000 euro or 10,000 euro to make money. But business side, I think it's a different angle. What do you think?
No, I think so. I think they are more into B2B, honestly. So I think they have more B2B business than what OpenAI have, for instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can maybe add 2 cents, because a lot of people use ChatGPT. They may have heard about Gemini. Maybe if they're on X, they heard about Grok. But let's be real, the majority of the average users don't use anything outside of ChatGPT, right? And I think oftentimes we see these open Claude and Gemini and new Opus model and Sora, and we see this on X. I think all of us are on X, probably getting a lot of our news, and it feels like everybody's already ahead of the schedule and we're falling behind. But the reality is it's less than 1% of people who actually have tried all those different platforms. So to give the audience some context, Claude is basically their product, which is kind of like ChatGPT, but they have quite amazing developments early on. A lot of people who use it for creative work, like whether it's to write or, you might have a brain dump of all your knowledge, Peter, like into your assistant as you're doing, and you're recording a bunch of like voice notes, and it imitates the way you speak, the way you write, the way you structure sentences quite well. Whereas a lot of times I go to ChatGPT and you get an answer, should I sell hair brushes to bald men? Do you think that's a good business idea? And it's just going to suggest and encourage whatever. Yeah, it's a good idea, So I like Claude for that purpose. And one of the recent products they release is Co-work. And I'm paying the $200 per month subscription, to be honest. And it's basically replacing a lot of your work, working with your own files on your computer. So it's quite incredible, kind of the leap they took from what ChatGPT has to what they offer, as you said, on kind of a more commercial enterprise kind of scale.
I think this is a great segue actually to the news that has been out about their Claude Opus that they released as well now, and the OpenAI launch as well. So I think it's very interesting what's happening in this space as well.
So Amir, we talked a little bit about the timeline. Do you want to maybe take us through? I have it here in front of us so the audience can follow. But do you want to take us through maybe what's notable about those events?
I started paying close attention to Anthropic actually in 2024 in June, when they announced something called Artifacts, and it's actually kind of the skills set for Alexa, if people are using Alexa, and it's enabling you to really use the AI agent that you're using or the AI tool that you're using on a specific term, and gives you there to work on that only. So it's kind of starting training your mind on certain tasks, not leaving you into the wild west. Let's ask and use it as a search. And then in May 2025, there was a breakthrough, which you were mentioning, Alex, on I think the amount of customizations to the user tone. And sorry for my French, not kissing your ass whenever you ask a question like ChatGPT. So it started to change a little bit.
And one thing to add, Amir, is also the ability to almost release products end to end. You're not just working on the UX UI. Now they're at the stage that you can connect databases. You can release it on Git. You can connect your repository. So like for somebody like me who's not a technical person, hands-on developing, I'm basically a product manager, right? Whatever I can conjure in my mind, within a couple hours I can have it done.
And I think, I don't know what you think ideally, but Peter as well, ideally here, it was almost the first shot to kill the software industry, because it was really like straight bullet there.
It's called the SaaS-pocalypse. That's what the news says.
Yes, and it was really like straight to the point, and like, oops, like I don't need any software developers anymore.
Right.
I will put it between many brackets in reality.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an overreaction.
Yeah, but it's definitely a push to that direction. What are your thoughts there, specifically after those announcements of between May 25, August 25, on the end-to-end tasks of Anthropic under Claude Code?
Yeah, you're talking about the recent news, or you're talking about yeah. So it's quite interesting to think about it. Thinking exercise is that you have a company now that went from zero to a valuation of 380 billion. I think that's the number that they'll say. But they took out a value, or the market cap of the full SaaS industry, of 1 trillion. So I think that's notable. Salesforce, I think, was down 25%. ServiceNow in 1 month. Microsoft down 15-16%, something like that. It's amazing. But I think going back to the SaaS itself, so why 25%? Why 26%? It's because you have agentic AI, and it starts to be able to do things that you needed software for before, but now it's writing the software that you need. So and is doing it dynamically. You can build capabilities that you will use later. So for instance, if I take back to the assistant, this blog migration that she did from Blogspot to GitHub pages, they're called Code or Claude, built capabilities inside her environment that made her be able to push, to go back, to do different kind of things. So it's almost like it's self-thinking. It's developing capabilities as you go. And of course, software that adapts itself is very useful. So and then it brings your context. It has a memory. It does things. So of course you optimize things. I think one of the things that we don't see too much yet, but I think it will come, is the ability to work together as teams, as on that, which we haven't seen yet, or at least I haven't seen so much about that.
I guess that would be like multi-agent orchestration at scale.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I mean, you have it on a multi-agent, but what about people that want to work together with agents?
True. I think we're yet to see this coordination as
So we have a platform as well. That's my B2B business. That's called excom.ai. And there we have something called the collaboration canvas, which is basically that you have a ChatGPT interface, and then it's interfacing to all your systems that we have in your organization, so that you can surface data, decisions, and so on. So I think this we will see more and more, that team. So for instance, you take the CFO, the CCO, Chief Commercial Officer, the head of B2B, and they are sitting with the same tool set, working with the business problem that they have. And of course, they have agents working for them, and then come up, surface decision material, and then they take action and go with that. So I think we will see that more and more. Equally, maybe families as well, when we talk about assistants, that you connect family members so that you can, it's very complex to be a parent, right? So you have different kind of activities that you need to do, football, feed the dog, make dinner, all these things. So I think that's one of the evolutions that might happen.
Do you see this being installed on a humanoid, and then you have that humanoid at the home with the family?
Sorry, the what?
Do you see this integrated into a humanoid, and you have that humanoid robot at home with the family doing
maybe. I think we will see a lot of things, even if as old we are. I think we will see a lot of things the next 10 years, for sure. Maybe that is one of the things.
Interesting. So I'm going to take you back to the news again about Anthropic. In November 25, they have signed a mega deal with a company called Cognizant. And out of most of the B2B deals they have done, this one really took my attention to just dig deeper and understand what is happening there. Cognizant is a company that was branched out from Infosys. And it's a pure software company. Like literally the bread and butter is to build software and IT systems. And they go head on into installing Claude to their 350,000 software developers. And their leader, Ravi Kumar, actually doubles down and say, I'm hiring another 25,000 software developers. And it looked for me like everyone in the market is saying, we're going to kill software developers are dead. Things has to move. Everything is gone. And like find for yourself another job. And here's this company that is almost, I would say, like cornerstone in the success of Anthropic in the last year, that deal. They're actually saying, no, we're hiring more developers and we are doubling down with AI. So Ravi Kumar has a statement about that the current wave of AI will actually create a pyramid of skills where the pyramid will squeeze. So the span of the skills will not be from 0 to 10, the most expert, and 0 is the least expert. No, he's saying it's going to be from 5 to 10. The 0 to 5 are gone. So I get anyone, and with these tools, I can still get more experience and let me attack the market with a different approach where I don't have to let go of my people. What do you think?
I think let's face it. So Claude Code, all these tools that we have makes people more productive. But I think the statement is not correct, because it's more, I go back to the what do you want to create more than how many do you have to create something. So I'm not sort of in line with the premise of the question there, because I see it a different way. So I see a company to do what, and then you can use a lot of developers or whatever coding platforms or how many things in order to achieve what you want to do. What is your vision? If you want to, I see, for instance, consultant companies and so on. Of course, they will have more capabilities. They will do more things, be able to do more things. But it will also be on the client side. Will actually capitalize on that, on those capabilities that you get. So you get better prices, you get faster time to market, or you demand faster time to market because you see that they have these tools that they have. But going back, I think the what is the most important question, and then how many people we have is less interesting, to be honest.
I have a question for both of you guys, actually, on this note. What kind of calculus do you think is happening in the background? So I guess to give some context, Cognizant, a lot of the workforce is based in India and subcon. And one of the things they're known for, obviously, they develop talent, and a lot of this talent ends up working overseas in big tech companies as well. Now, given the wage disparity between, Western Europe, US, and of course, you have the subcon area, do you think there's a calculus saying that we get 350,000 juniors, we pay for their subscription or whatever, training, onboarding, and so on, using these AI tools, and all of a sudden they become, over a year or two, the equivalent of a mid-level developer? And, kind of as one of their value propositions is exporting this talent to other companies that need it. So do you think there's a calculus financially that, like hiring 10,000 seniors is not going to get as much benefit with their knowledge and expertise compared to a bunch of juniors that we can upscale? What do you think that equation looks like?
Amir, you go first.
And maybe Peter, for you, or Amir, whoever maybe has a first kind of insight on this.
I would yet to see, to be honest, like whether AI now is removing excuses of unskilled workers. I'm a big believer of that. I think it leveled the scale in reality. So if I am actually really wanting to do something now, it's definitely much easier than it was 2-3 years ago. So I would say leveling the skill set, that's what's there. But so why I'm saying I'm yet to see, I'm not a believer that the technical skill itself is the skill that makes anyone actually a skillful person. Of course, a good doctor has to know how to do surgery, but what really makes them a really good doctor is their attention to details, their precision, their anal passion about their job in reality, and their curiosity. And the same, what makes a good engineer is the passion to build. Is again the curiosity, is maybe what you're calling, Peter, is the what, actually what I'm doing in reality there and why I'm doing it. So can I get a monkey and give the monkey all the tools and it still actually does the job if it's only their mission is to get the banana? That's where I'm actually the human has to continue being a human. You need to want to do that, and then the tools are available. It changed. It was Excel 5 years ago. Now it is a GPT engine. What do you think, Peter?
No, I think as well. I don't think. I mean, I would like. I hear you completely, and I agree with what you say. I think you will not. If you have a bad engineer, he will not be better with AI, or it will not. It will help, of course, but if you cannot take, I see a lot of people, for instance, that is vibe coding. They are doing a web page, but if you cannot take that to production, you need to know a lot of the things about operation, about infrastructure, about security, and whatnot. So it doesn't. It makes us be faster, let's say, but if you don't have the skill set, then I think it's lost, because you will not learn. You will learn, a little bit how it thinks, in the same way that ChatGPT maybe is helping us to frame different things, to send emails and so on. But it will not make us much better developers automatically. But I think one danger is also, if you have, as I was alluding to a little bit before, the value that they create for this they will not be able to charge more. They need to be more efficient, and this is what on the vendor versus buyer side, this is what will happen. So you have an efficiency in that one, I think. But if you go for the skill set alone, I don't think that you will be more skilled just because you have AI. You need to learn.
You need to. I think there was a very interesting take from Jensen Johansson about if there is a person that is 100 years ago, 1926, and happened to be looking with a video camera at our offices now, any of the leaders, and you would ask that person that is coming from 1926, what is our job? He will probably say we are typewriters.
Yeah.
and that's it. And what I really love about that perspective of Jensen Johansson is that he differentiated massively between what you were saying, Peter, between the what and the how.
Yeah. So I think going back to Alex's story, he's more productive now because he knows what he wants to do, and the tools will help him.
Yes.
But a developer that doesn't know, if you don't have the what, you will not be the skill, so you will do whatever you did before. So the what is very important.
Exactly. So will AI change the how? Yeah, that's 100%. You cannot deny that. The how changed immediately now. But it cannot change the what in our head.
No.
I love that.
To create a great product is the what. But then how is what skill set you need to have, and operating model, and lot of things that you have. But you need to describe the product and the what. And then, of course, it's easier nowadays to maybe reach your goal, what you want to do.
So maybe the tagline of our episode is, we quote Peter on this, Alex, that actually AI will definitely impact the how, but not the what. If you don't know the what, AI will not do anything.
Yeah, then you're done.
Yeah. I love that. We have been always
it's kind of
talking
like
about
money
the why
too. You know,
here,
people say
it's the first time. Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
I was just gonna say it's a little bit like money. People say money changes people, but I don't believe that's true. I think money just amplifies who you already are deep down, right? And if there's some rot in there, it gets amplified. If you're somebody generous, you're gonna use that money to hire your friends, family, provide jobs and stuff like that. So I guess AI is the same extent. It's just a magnification of who you are and the what that you want to achieve, isn't it?
I agree.
So, two aspects again about the also latest news of Anthropic, and maybe Anthropic announced this week that they are entering cybersecurity, and they are now doing the code security and vulnerability penetration testing as another set of artifacts. I really like how they're doing the use case based type of going to the market, to be honest. And of course, like my unfavorite cybersecurity company crashed CrowdStrike, so immediately. And on that angle, there's two perspectives here. The fact that there's a lot you can say, a lot you can know, a lot what you can do, and that some tools are also being available. Do you think the cyber threat has completely changed as well with AI? And what do you think about the cybersecurity industry in the coming as well couple of years? Can really cybersecurity be completely run by AI agents?
Yeah, that's a difficult question. For sure, security with our sensitive data that we have as well, that one is super important. And if I would put my money, I would put some of it in cybersecurity for sure. When it comes to the more technical question, can AI help to or can it run it autonomously, or can help to improve your cybersecurity? I have the best examples myself from back again to the assistant that is running. So there we have used AI in order to harden the perimeter firewalls and so on, so to minimize the attack vectors itself, both from the inside and from the outside. So there is something that works already, and I like Anthropic's way of positioning this as well, because it is a big issue. Look at also the OpenClaw. There is definitely security aspects there where you let your assistant get access to all your information, and if you're not as a cybersecurity expert, anything can happen. Your information can be lost.
Interesting. I would almost 99% agree with you on this. My main worry as well now with what is happening is like impersonation and character impersonation became very easy.
That's
now.
another area actually. Yeah,
it's like I can really go and read a couple of things and then just come as an expert, and then I will be saying I'm Peter, and let's try. Yeah. And until I really get tested, that's where already the damage has been done. So maybe another.
I think you're right as well, Amir. It's amplifying what Alex was saying. It's amplifying us. So if you're a fraudster, you have more tools because you're working with the back to the what.
Yes.
And then the how is the AI or whatever tool you might have in order to do it. Whether it's impersonation or if it's cybercrime that you want to do a hacking of a website or whatever. It's more what you want to do with it, and then the catalyst that or how you amplify it is through technology.
And if we really go back to the constitutional AI of Dario and Daniela in reality, and I feel worried in reality. I think it's somehow like everything is really gonna be there's maybe it's like a mind virus. I can just plant it anyway, and then things will start accelerating. I can really slowly but surely someone can continue seeding any ideology, and with the same actually amplification of the bad personas or the colonial personas, all the world imperialism again, or whatever it is. It might become really hard to control that without a strong authority putting the right guidelines there.
Yeah, I mean, you can go as far as you can. There's a lot of power plays now in the world between China, Russia, US. So you can even take it to that situation where you have your jurisdiction, your rules and regulations that you need to control your people. You need to control what they're doing, what are the rules, but then you also have the other power struggle with other countries, with other players on the market. So I think this is the big battle that is happening now, but very, very slowly. But it's a huge battle. Of course, probably it has been there all along throughout history, but we really see it now because we are talking about information. Information wins in the end, or is the ultimate asset that you have for controlling, for gaining power, essentially.
You do a lot of actually government consulting as well, and yeah, I can hear whenever we talk that you are also like concerned about where countries place themselves into the value chain or the new value chains. So if you want to give like a couple of lines, like food for thought for the current governments of the world, and maybe around the area of sovereignty and AI value chain, what would be your thoughts around that?
Yeah, that's a really difficult question. But first of all, I think the train has gone. So it's already done. The only thing that can get things together is a catalyst that can happen, so that people are maybe grouping again naturally. But I think a lot of governments has a lot of things to prove and to be useful again when it comes to that. And the only thing that can get these borders together or get it like it was is a catalyst like wars or other difficulties that you might have where you need the government in more. But for the rest, train out gone.
I have an interesting, question on this topic, also related to Anthropic. I believe they had a contract. I'm not sure if it was with the CIA or the NSA, but one of the big three-letter institutions with the U.S. government. And apparently they wanted to use their platform capabilities for some very specific targeting or taking out some live targets, and Anthropic refused to, turn over, I don't know if it's the backdoor, the control, but basically they didn't want to take a part of it. And Amir, something you were mentioning earlier as well about kind of the constitution, how the AI is built. We know Elon wants to build Grok as being kind of the truth center of our human knowledge. And of course, Anthropic has got this interesting take on adding ethics and kind of rail guards not to get into the dark uses of AI. Peter, can I ask, are you seeing similar things in maybe the partnerships in corporate or governments that you're dealing with? Or how do you see those kind of common models and technologies being adopted to very specific use cases?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's not only with AI. I think before that, we also have the cloud. So local jurisdictions, local rules and regulation. I think it's amplified with AI as well, even more. So you have to roll out infrastructure. So you have different layers in this world, a different architecture where you have different layers that needs to be in place. I think we will talk about it maybe a little bit later. But the main point is that the agreements needs to happen between these government entities and so on. But I think it's more, for me, it's mostly interesting what is happening on a macro level where, for instance, Microsoft, they need to abide to national rules and regulation, but they also answer to the U.S. government because they're a U.S. company, right? So, and if I'm a government in a country, I would require them to be under my jurisdiction. Otherwise, I have not much to say, right? So, and there are many different things that is happening that is contrasting those things, not only in technology. I think consulting, for instance, as well. You have these McKinsey and other companies, Bain and all that were in Saudi Arabia, set up offices, set up businesses there, but they are belonging to the US, right? So they are US companies, and they cannot. And then they were asked to give information to the US government, but they cannot give it because they are abiding to the local law. So they are breaking the law either in the US or in the local law. So which one do you want to break? Same with technologies. You have the Cloud Act, for instance, where an American company needs to give information to the US government, even though they are in wherever they are in the world. So it's a very complex question, which will cost everyone a lot of money, because in the technology space you need to deploy data centers everywhere, abide to the laws, set up offices and so on. So then it's not cloud, it's fog. So they are closer to the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very interesting as well how the dynamics between the US and EU on this. So US is actually asking US companies so they can take whatever they need from them, but when EU is trying to enforce the same, they are threatening EU that if you apply the EU Act on us, we'll apply trade sanctions on you again. So yeah, I think we're gonna seeing a very strong evolving story here. You mentioned something about the layers of AI and where you find yourself on the value chain, and I think this is a very interesting part to also maybe ignite the imagination of our audience about it.
Yeah, I think when we talk about it, it's like 7 layers that you have. So first layer is the raw materials. that you can also fight about, or is your enabler. Then you have your equipment. You have in the next layer maybe chip design, so you are more refined. You have chip fabrication, which is also one of the main drivers that you have as well for progress. You have the cloud infrastructure, as what I was we discussing before, and then you have the foundational models, so Anthropic and so on, that needs all this stack. Let's say that to run even the raw materials, right? To enable those services. And then on top of that, we have the applications. So not only the ChatGPT, but other application there where you use AI in order to operate your business, whether it's medical devices or manufacturing services and so on. So that the application layer. That's how I see it.
Mm. And I assume you put the energy along the side, or you put the energy under the material, because
material. So it's exactly. That would go into that layer. Yeah. Of course, and no model is perfect, but you get the point.
Yeah, I get the idea. I think if I like the whole hierarchical explanation. And I would simply put the energy alongside for all of that, because it's.
But you can take it from another angle as well. So if you take margin, for instance, on raw materials, you have basically maybe 3-5% margin. Yeah. On equipment, you have 45. On chip design, nowadays, you have 75% margin. Fabrication, you have 60-65%. Cloud infrastructure is like 20. Then foundational models, this is very thin. So because of the economics of the business is very difficult, because most of the tokens that are consumed are paid by investors at this moment in time. So talk about $20 per month. It doesn't cover the electricity cost of what you are generating, and then less the capex that you have deployed in infrastructure. Right? We went from one shift from CPU to GPU, for instance. That was a big change for the infrastructure companies that are starting to get like dump pipes already. And then the application there, of course, they are the fastest growing that is monetizing, or that actually is monetizing on these layers.
Then in that model, I would put the energy with the raw material, because the energy.
I agree. We should make a 2.0 of the model actually.
Then I will really put the energy with raw material, because I think going into the energy, it's also thin margins. And it goes into 3-4% margin, and that would actually put it there. And then countries will have to place themselves, or corporates will place yourself on Peter's 7 layers model. So if you are laying on the energy or playing on the raw material, you're gonna be really like milked, if I can call it this way, with low margins, and probably you will pay back whatever margin you made 10 times to get access. Upper layer in reality. So and
we were talking about we were talking about cybersecurity. That is one I would put money on. Certain applications as well. I would not put money on models or these kind of companies for sure now, because of the situation that they have. Probably they will have some good times on paper. Better valuation and so on, but this is very risky business, because they are. I mean, if you take the parallel, for instance, with the telcos built the network. They have massive of capex that was deployed, towers, infrastructure that you have. Then came the application layer, which is the OTTs. The WhatsApp, the Netflixes and stream companies and so on that actually flew on the networks using all this capacity and cost capex that was already deployed, and they just surfed the wave, and they were the one that made the money, or at least from valuation. So and the ARPU for because of regulation and market dynamics, the ARPU, I think, fell like 35%, the average revenue per user, from telecommunications, it went down like 30-35% over the past decade.
I would take my right to have another episode with you on telco to techco, because this would be a very interesting one.
Yeah.
Alex, what do you have for us on the rest of the menu today?
Yeah, Amir, I was actually wondering, because part of your question as well was how can some of these different pieces in this value chain not become dumb pipes, right? So in other words, not become useless, obsolete. A lot of the stuff that we're seeing, especially infrastructure costs or token costs, between a lot of these established companies, even telecoms are providing access to internet, obviously. There are so many alternatives that it seems like it's a race to the bottom. And the value is at the thing that's the most difficult to produce, whether it's the photonics, chips manufacturing machines, or whether it's the power, right? Whether it's generating like hundreds of thousands of kilowatts of power. So back to your question, you're asking how can a lot of these countries and traditional companies avoid falling into that trap? So can we come back to this for a second and maybe think of some ideas how they can differentiate and not become just another no-code builder without actual moat, for example? And Peter, maybe that's a good question to you. Like, how can, let's keep it in the telcos. How can traditional telcos not fall into that trap of racing, to cut costs, but actually provide differentiation?
I would use the word from Peter again, the train have left in reality. So on that part as well. I don't know why you think, Peter, but for the last 5-6 years, we've been saying like that telcos are falling on the cliff now. It's just gone in the dumb pipe unless you really capture your moment and move into the techco model, be an orchestrator, and start moving up into your Peter's model into the application layer, then staying into the infrastructure model. Do you see any way back now for this?
No, for sure. It's also even more than government, I think. So I think this is 5 cents away from electricity as a commodity. So I think data itself is something that is. You have different operators. Customer really don't care about operators as long as they can have their connection. Then it's a price game, and price games are not good. So prices has not increased. So on the contrary, it has gone down due to the market situation. Now, if you live in Finland, you don't even think about your bill almost.
Yeah, actually, I have a feeling that energy is overtaking the telco already in terms of margin. Like energy is coming back again.
I didn't hear.
I'm actually feeling that energy is moving up into the value scale, the value chain, above telco in reality. Like people think about energy more than they think about the telco line now.
Absolutely, and more so now than if you take today's GPUs, for instance, they are consuming a lot of energy. So the future company that can optimize a GPU consumption of energy will be fantastic, I think, because nobody's thinking about efficiency at the moment. They're just thinking about building. So building and filling data centers, this is the most important. So the commodity that everybody wants is chips. So that's why the chip design and NVIDIA, they have 75% margin on their business, so they can set the prices.
Even the dream of becoming a utility as a telco, or the worry of becoming a utility for the telco, okay, done. Tough luck. It's not even a utility, my friend. So,
exactly. Yeah. It's more like a pension fund investments to do that for the models.
Wow.
For the models company.
Wow.
We are looking at the future that might not happen, but it looks like history is repeating itself.
Yeah, 3 highways. Alex, you want to say something?
No, I was just trying to find. I read some news the other day. I think it was maybe a Korean chip manufacturer, but they had some kind of a breakthrough where it literally happened, I think maybe 2-3 days ago, where a lot of the computation is actually happening within the hardware of the chip itself. Like, I don't know, there was some kind of new breakthrough, and I was trying to pull it up. But the headline, I recall, they would make the computation like something like 20 to 30x more efficient, which is pretty incredible. And obviously when that efficiency is improved to that extent, that also, drives the cost down for a lot of things for us as end consumers, right?
Yeah. So this is what I mean. This is what happens now. It was always like that. It always happened in different. Somebody came, they did something good. They were alone on the market. Then came something else, and they made it more efficient. Then they were become a utility or a mass market deal with a lot of competition. Now there's no competition. It's only Nvidia, and now there are coming others players on the market, whether they are Chinese or American or European or wherever they come from.
And Peter, we're thankful for your time as well. And I wanted to ask maybe one or two quick fire questions before we take up any more Peter's time. But Amir, I'll let you go first.
No, go for your fire questions. I was about to say I could go forever on this episode. I'm just enjoying to the max, and I think they're great insights and presence and models and terms. I think we have been very informative to our audience today. But
right.
Alex, let's go for your 5 questions.
Yeah, Peter, one of them is you took a very interesting career trajectory, right? It's not the typical, you're obviously quite all over the place. So somebody who's just entering their 20s, they're into tech, they're into entrepreneurship, what advice would you give them to have a successful career, business, or whatever is the what they want to achieve?
Oh, that's a good question. And especially for me, I'm completely incompetent in this area because I've done so many mistakes. So I think maybe that is the advice, is try to learn from your mistakes and then do what you're passionate about. Because if you don't do that, then your life might be half good. But if you follow it, then maybe you can have some passion in your life.
But I would stay with the word of actually did a lot of mistakes, actually, Peter. And I think mistakes somehow is, as long as there are mistakes, right, is what makes us.
Absolutely.
So I would say what I'm seeing in front of you is in front of me when I'm talking with you, and how actually I attend a lot of meetings and a lot of conferences with you, and I see how people look up to you actually, and how you are actually positioning your point of view, and how you model things. You've been talking about AI 10 years ago, before even anyone started talking about it. So I think you are daring to jump, and I would say that that actually embracing of mistakes is a very interesting roadmap that you can make it as a recipe for everyone else. Go
Absolutely.
for it.
Yeah. I have another maybe answer for Alex, and that is quicker than the one that I had. That is learn mathematics and physics.
Yes.
Don't ask why, but just do it.
You can't go wrong with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. So,
and I guess the last question we ask our guests on the show.
Yes, Peter. So now, since we are closing, we are having in our TrickCast 2 types of leaders. You can choose your third if you feel so. We say the technology leaders, some are scholars in the boardroom and some are magicians on the boardroom. And maybe there is a third type that you can think about. But if you're going to place yourself, are you a scholar, a boardroom scholar, or a boardroom magician?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think with a fast answer, I would say I'm a boardroom magician, because I'm quite awkward, I think, for a board member to listen to. So I'm not following the normal ways of operating in boardrooms. However, I've been able to somehow make my voice heard, so that they actually give me trust to accomplish things, to do things that is good. And I think one of the, maybe back to Alex again, I really like the question of the advice, what you can give. And that's something that I've learned later in life, is that you need to have good teams, and you need to dedicate a lot of time for your teams. And I've been very, very blessed to, once I get to know them, because you have authority when you are chief or whatever, but you need to dedicate time for your team, and then you can accomplish amazing things, honestly.
We got our answer. We have a magician that is actually giving some scholar advice as well and building a team.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I look like a scholar, but I'm really a magician.
Yeah, I would actually, I would definitely agree, having worked with you, Peter. I would say as well, you are more in the magician wizard side. So you have a very sharp eyesight into the future when it comes to our industry. And I would say, yeah, that definitely puts you into a magician wizard, seeing what is happening. So people should listen more often to you.
Yeah. I hope they would, but most people don't. Or they do, but sometimes you have, and it's difficult, right? Because you see things like what the discussion that we have now. We're talking about concrete things that happens and so on, but they have a outside perspective normally that you need to see, and many people they see it, but some people they don't see it. It's just happening things. They have a perspective on other things that is closer to them, but when it comes to business with the maybe technology and so on, then with all the effort and all the pain that I have lived through during my career, and also some good episodes as well, then you hopefully, going back to Alex again, if you learn by your mistakes, then you understand a little bit more about the world, how it works, and try not to repeat the same mistakes again.
Well, Peter, that's great advice. Thank you for being here. Hopefully next time we speak to you, we can maybe get a little bit deeper in your product as well. I think between now and probably a couple months down the line, is going to be quite a few developments. And that's, again, proof of you seeing ahead and being kind of on this agentic trend way before everybody else. So thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. And hopefully we speak again soon.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
you, Amir,
Peter. Thanks, Peter. Thanks for our boardroom magician today. And next time I'll have to double check it's you when you're talking, not another AI agent on your behalf.
That's
so by that.